This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
Holy crap. This NBA story is wild. It's just unfolding as we sit here. The FBI, Kash Patel, is holding a press conference to talk about the charges. Dozens of suspects have been arrested today by the FBI, including NBA Hall of Famer and Portland Trail Blazers coach Chauncey Billups and NBA All-Star Terry Rozier. So far, we've watched and listened to them describe this, and it's right out of Goodfellas. This is a mob movie. They're talking about Billups working with La Casa Nostra, the mafia. We're talking about rigged poker games, including poker games where the people rigging the games were using X-ray glasses to read cards that were face down. Man, we're getting some detail. They're unfolding as we speak. We're going to get to that. These are Terry Rozier accused of point shaving. Man, whoever saw that coming? This report on NBA point shaving is brought to you by FanDuel and DraftKings and MGM. It was inevitable. We knew this was going to happen, and boy, is it happening. We're going to get to that again. They're just doing it. The NBA and New York City Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch is speaking now. It is a huge, sweeping operation that arrested dozens of perpetrators, including NBA players and coaches. And man, the NBA is in it up to their eyeballs. I'll just give you this detail. I find this fascinating. Terry Rozier is making $26 million a year. He's made over $100 million. He's, I believe, in the last year of a $96 million contract. And he played a game in 2023 where he came out injured, left the game injured. And there was an unusual number of prop bets on his personal performance that day, saying an unusual number of people betting the under on whether he would score points, get rebounds, whatever. He left with a foot injury. There were 30 wagers in 46 minutes on him, on the under, on his personal performance. The bets totaled $13,759. So a man making $100 million is involved in a point shaving scheme that won, I'm not sure how much the win was, but $13,000 betting on him to not reach the over. Again, this is just pure greed. I know the juice, the excitement is part of it, but the Chauncey Billups made over $100 million, and it wasn't enough. He was out there trying to make a little cash on the side, rigging poker games, and now he's in custody of the FBI. It is going to be wild to see this unfold. We're not sure how many NBA players, coaches, personnel will be involved in the end, but this isn't good for Adam Silver in the NBA. It's hard to believe we've reached this point. I just looked it up. In the early 80s, Major League Baseball suspended Willie Mays and Mickey Mantle, two of the 5 best players ever, because they took a job greeting at a casino, just glad-handing people, doing public relations for a casino in Atlantic City, and they were banned from baseball. They were later reinstated, but there used to be a line you could not cross. You couldn't even walk through a casino if you were a Major League ball player, an NBA player, an NFL player. They kept their distance. And a few years ago, that all changed. They made a deal with the devil. They got into bed with gambling companies, and we were warned. They were warned. This day would come that was too easy for somebody to just, come up with a foot injury and leave a game and make money for their friends who were gambling, or their friends in La Casa Nostra, in the case of Chauncey Billups. But it's going to be wild to see this thing unfold for these greedy bastards that just weren't making enough. It wasn't exciting enough to play in the NBA. They had to get involved in gambling, get involved with the 5 families who were listed by Kash Patel and others, the 5 families that were involved in rigging poker games with the help of a current NBA coach. Man, this is trouble for the NBA, but we will, I mean,
I would like to.
They don't need this. Who do we got? Who is this? Who's speaking? Who's there?
Joseph Nocella going over it.
Oh, this guy's good. He goes through all the names, all the details, explains how they rigged poker games. Let's tune in for a minute to this. Is he the U.S. attorney? What is his title? Joseph Nocella.
U.S. Attorney for Eastern District of New York.
U.S. Attorney, Eastern District of New York. Let's just check out a little of this.
I would like to talk about United States versus Ernest, the NBA basketball gambling case. The defendants in this case are Eric Ernest, Marvez Farley, Shane Hennon, DeNiro Laster, Damon Jones, a former NBA player and coach, and Terry Rozier, a current NBA player. Other co-conspirators were previously charged for their roles in the scheme, including former NBA player Jonte Porter. Between December 2022 and March 2024, these defendants perpetrated a scheme to defraud by betting on inside, non-public information about NBA athletes and teams. The non-public information included when specific players would be sitting out future games, or when they would pull themselves out early for purported injuries or illnesses. They relied on corrupt individuals, including Jones and Rozier. They also misused information obtained through long-standing friendships that they had with NBA players and coaches. And in at least one instance, they got their information by threatening a current player, Porter, because of his pre-existing gambling debts. Use this non-public information to place hundreds of thousands of dollars in fraudulent bets, mostly in the form of prop bets on individual player performance.
Prop bets, that was always going to be the problem. That's what they warned about. One guy. You don't need the whole team. You need one guy. They bet that he won't reach the over on his points, rebounds, whatever. And then he suddenly comes up with a foot injury and leaves the game. And everybody makes money. Man, it's got it all. Just wait till this whole thing. Kash Patel is back at the mic. They took them into custody this morning, I believe, at Rozier's hotel room, arrested him. And you know what? What the real problem is this stuff is on the computers, on the phone. It is in black and white. This is not the Black Sox scandal where you need people to say, yeah, he did this, she did that, whatever. This is easily provable. So Terry Rozier, Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, they're in big trouble. The NBA is in big trouble. We'll keep an eye. We'll monitor this and get back to it if we get more details. But this is the nightmare that we knew it was inevitable. This was going to happen when the NBA and the NFL and Major League Baseball and every professional sports team got in bed with the gambling companies. This was going to happen. This was, we didn't know when, we didn't know who would be involved, we didn't know how it would work, but it was eventually going to happen. He just told you Damon Jones had gambling debts and they forced him to throw a game, most likely, or at least leave a game with an injury so his friends in the mob would benefit. All right. Speaking of mob, we got to get to the current state of the Democrat Party and the current state of the country. We know in November, almost a year ago, 78 million people voted for Donald Trump, and their number one reason for voting for Donald Trump was getting illegal aliens out of the country. It could not have been clearer. People were sick of it. They watched a lawless Biden regime let 15 to 20 million people into the country. It was the worst betrayal of the country we've ever seen from an elected president. The worst treasonous behavior we've ever seen. Attempt to destroy the country by bringing in future Democrats. We've gone over this 1,000 times. And we knew on November 5th and on January 20th that Democrats, the media, would not handle this well. These were their future voters. They were counted in the census. They gave them seats in Congress. This was the key to their power. Illegal aliens coming in here, eventually becoming citizens, which would have happened if Trump lost, and voting for Democrats. We knew it was an existential threat to Democrats. We knew they would throw a tantrum when Trump won. We knew they wouldn't be happy when ICE agents went into cities and did and enforced the law that Congress wrote. They are doing their jobs just like every other law enforcement agency. They are upholding the law, enforcing the law. That's what they're doing. And we knew Democrats would have a big problem with this, but I just have to say, I didn't know they would go this far. I didn't know that they would be this reckless, this insane. What they're doing now is unacceptable. It's borderline evil. Let's just look at what happened in Los Angeles yesterday. This is just another day of dealing, living, and dying with the policies of the last administration. That we are dealing with a Trump administration that's trying to right the wrongs, trying to fix the damage, repair the damage that Biden did. Biden, Kamala Harris, and the Democrat Party did everything in their power to destroy the fabric of the country by letting in not just 15 to 20 million illegals, but gang members, terrorists, hardened criminals. Trump said it over and over and over. They emptied their prisons and sent these incorrigibles into our country for the express purpose of changing the demographics of our country. It was the number one issue for good reason. It was indeed an existential threat to our country. And thank God Trump won. Thank God common sense prevailed. And immediately they went to work, doing their job, enforcing the law, removing public safety threats, removing dangerous, hardened criminals from our country. And there's nothing that exposes the agenda of Democrats quite like their reaction to this. I watched a debate on CNN on Abby Phillips' show, and all the screaming liberals talked about 170 Americans who've been briefly detained by ICE, mistakenly, questioned, released. They were detained, released. They weren't illegals. They got to go. And that is a scandal to Democrats. They detained Americans? Yeah, 170. And they thought that was a big, big deal. So your last president let 20 million illegals into the country. Again, millions of hardened criminals, terrorists, gang members. And the people tasked with cleaning up that mess, with saving our country, are supposed to have a perfect record, are not supposed to make mistakes that they immediately rectify. That's a scandal to Democrats, that Americans were briefly detained, mistakenly, and released. This somehow isn't. I don't think I've seen this. I've been watching CNN, MSNBC. I've been online. An illegal alien in California, of course, in Los Angeles on the 10 freeway, 21 years old, from India, released into the country by the Biden administration in 2023, and given a CDL, a license to drive semis, tractor trailers, given a license. This is a man who's here illegally, who's 21 years old, from India, and was allowed to drive an 80,000-pound rig. And here is the result. If you're watching along, perhaps the most disturbing dash cam we've ever seen. Here he is crushing car after car on the highway and then veering off the highway, crushing more cars and trucks and smashing this rig to pieces. He lived. He's charged with DUI. Forget the fact that he can't, maybe can't even read the road signs or doesn't even understand how to drive this rig. Gavin Newsom gave him a license. Joe Biden gave him his freedom into this country. How is this not the biggest story in the country? How is this not the biggest scandal in the country? How is every American not absolutely outraged by this? You won't hear a Democrat even mention this, that this person who should not be in the country and certainly shouldn't be behind the wheel of a tractor trailer truck. 3 people dead. I'm going to assume 3 Americans. We don't have their identifications yet. But this is just madness. And again, every Democrat who went before the cameras yesterday, day before, anytime, will scream about ICE. ICE, they're the Gestapo. They're the Nazis. That's un-American. What? What about ICE? ICE hasn't killed anybody. This guy, let me get his name. Jashanapreet Singh. Jashanapreet Singh. Illegal alien, 21 years old, drunk, high, behind the wheel of this rig. This is just collateral damage to Democrats. Yeah, he was going to be a Democrat. He was going to vote for us. So we let him in. So we gave him a CDL, a license to drive this rig. And now people are dead. And it's not a big deal. It's not an outrage. Quite the opposite. You will not hear a Democrat today express their outrage, hell, their condolences to the family. Instead, it's ICE. ICE is the bad guys. ICE in California, ICE in LA, ICE in New York. What are they doing? Stop them. They're thugs. They're fascists. What? This is to me crossing the Rubicon. This is so revealing. This is eye-opening. You're one of the 2 major parties is fine with this. People died, yeah, but we have a bigger goal here to remake the country, to change the country. So a guy like this who came across our border is released, not just released, given a license to drive and kill. And I haven't seen a single Democrat express their outrage. Just the opposite. They're doubling down. They are making the ICE, they're the bad guys. Border Patrol, they're the bad guys. And they want to stop them, the people who were looking for Mr. Singh and trying to get him out before people died. They didn't do it. They failed to get him because Democrats are trying to stop them. I found this moment with Robert Garcia, sitting congressman from California, from right down the road from where Jashanapreet Singh killed 3 innocent people right down the road. This guy represents Long Beach and another stretch in Southern California. Hey, I'm sure some of his district was burned in the fires. That doesn't matter. Illegal aliens killing people doesn't matter. Here he is going before the cameras and saying he and Democrats are going to, on their website, on the House Oversight Democrats website, they're going to dox ICE. They're going to track their movements and tip off illegal aliens when they can that ICE is coming. Again, this is not some crazed, lunatic, anarchist, Antifa guy. This is a congressman. And this is what he was doing when they were still picking the bodies up off the road because an illegal alien behind the wheel of a tractor trailer truck killed innocent Americans. They have gone off the rails. They have gone insane. This is just madness we're living through. Democrats determined to stop a federal law enforcement agency from enforcing federal law. Again, I'll ask, why is this different from tipping off the criminals that the FBI is going after, that these mob guys doing point shaving. Why is it different than tipping off the drug dealers? The DEA's coming. DEA's down the street. We saw them. Get out. They're tipping off illegal alien. Their goal is to notify illegal alien criminals before a federal law enforcement agency can enforce the law, arrest them, and deport them. That's one of the two major parties. That's their goal. That's their job. Listen to this. Is almost hard to believe. This is an actual press conference from an actual Democrat congressperson from Southern California yesterday. Go ahead.
I shared this with the mayor. Over the course of the next couple of weeks, the Oversight Committee will be launching on their website a master ICE tracker, where we're going to be essentially tracking every single instance that we can verify that the community will be able to send us information on.
They are going to track ICE and help criminals. The Democrat Party has lost it. They are now committed to keeping people like Mr. Singh in your country, in your community, where they can kill you. Yeah, essentially. There was a wild scene in New York, in lower Manhattan, Tribeca area on Canal Street over 2 days ago. God bless ICE. These guys are heroic. These guys are courageous. They are going into the worst places because that's where the criminals are. And ICE goes in after this group of illegal aliens from Africa who sell counterfeit stuff on the street. Isn't it cute? You know, tourists go by and, oh, look, it's a Rolex for $20. Oh, isn't it funny? Gucci bag. Oh, two for $10. And it's supposed to be, you know, part of the kaleidoscope in New York, in lower Manhattan. They go in and arrest these guys, 9 of them, illegal alien criminals from Africa. And the neighborhood just comes out of their homes, you know, out of their, their condos, and start harassing ICE, getting in their face, literally trying to interrupt them, stop them from arresting these people. You know, just these colorful, you know, immigrants who are selling stuff on the sidewalk. And they try to stop them from cleaning up their own neighborhood. Everybody agrees it's dangerous in that neighborhood. There's a lot of crime. And these heroes are cleaning it up, are arresting these people. And the people who live there, these are Mamdani voters, Mamdani fangirls, mostly women. I mean, 90% young women who are trying to protect criminals. Some of them, by the way, sexual predators from Africa. And ICE is getting them out, and the residents are trying to stop them. Those are Democrats right there, trying to stop them. Well, turns out they arrested 9 illegal aliens. All of them have rap sheets, long criminal histories. It's throw their mugshots up there. Every one of them. I mean, they're scam artists. They're forgery, selling stolen goods, also drug dealing, domestic violence. Violent criminals contribute nothing. They want these people to stay in their neighborhood. Why? Because Trump wants them out. That's all. Trump wants them out, and they want them here. These are hardened criminals, and they're gone thanks to Trump, thanks to ICE. And Democrats aren't happy. Letitia James, we the congressman, a bunch of congressmen, telling you they're going to track ICE and put it on their website. Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York, the state, the top law enforcement agent in the state, also had a press conference and announced a portal where people can send videos of ICE to them where they can track their movement and tip people off. That is a Attorney General of a big, important state. We know she's a total whack job. We know she's incompetent. We know she's corrupt. But this is absolute madness. We're not talking again about some activist, you know, some Antifa or some Black Lives Matter or some, you know, Soros guy out there telling you they want to stop ICE. We're talking about an Attorney General. That's what people in New York voted for. They voted for this crazed woman who not only, broke the law to bankrupt Trump, but she wants to help those guys, those fine gentlemen from West Africa, wants to help them avoid ICE, break the law. Man, it is a strange time in America where people who die, none of the people who are screaming about ICE gave a damn about Laken Riley or Jocelyn Nungaray. None of them stood at the State of the Union and cheered, clapped for victims of people like this. They don't care about the 3 people in LA who just died because an illegal alien got behind the wheel of a truck, drunk, high, and killed innocent Americans. They don't matter. They won't even mention them. They care about these fine gentlemen. They want to protect them. They were hoping, they'd get to stay here, become citizens, and vote for them. Frightening, scary, sickening time we live in. All right, we got much more to get to. We're going to get back to the NBA scandal. Kash Patel is still speaking. The whole crew in New York City, the feds, the locals. Man, this is a wild story. We'll get back to that. And John Fetterman, the only honest man in the Democrat Party, went scorched earth. He went on with Hannity, which tells you he is not holding back. They don't like him. They're threatening to primary him, and he doesn't give a damn. He's got 6 more years, I believe. No, 4 more years in the Senate. And they'll come after him, try to ruin him, but he doesn't care. He's the only honest man in the Democrat Party. We'll get to what Fetterman had to say and much more. But first,
Excuse me.
if there's something all of us can believe in, it's hard work, self-reliance, and showing up for the people who count on us. Kind of like President Trump, just going hard 24/7. The difference is Donald Trump doesn't need sleep. You do. I do. It's the most important thing to good health. I was in a horrible cycle that had no end in sight. I knew I had to find something to break me free of that cycle. That's when I found Beam's Dream Powder. Beam is proudly founded in America and run by people who share our values: hard work, integrity, and delivering results. It's a healthy nighttime blend packed with science-based ingredients shown to improve sleep so you can wake up refreshed and ready to take on the day. Dream is made with a powerful blend of all natural ingredients: reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, and melatonin. Here's the deal. Beam is giving my listeners the ultimate Patriot discount of up to 40% off. Try their best-selling Dream Powder and get up to 40% off for a limited time. So with my discount code Gerry, G-E-R-R-Y, you can get the best-selling Dream Powder for just $39. Go to shopbeam.com/Gerry. Use code word Gerry at checkout. That's shopbeam.com/Gerry. Use code word Gerry for up to 40% off. We'll get to Fetterman and Mandami, by the way. The last debate, I believe the last debate between Cuomo, Curtis Sliwa, and Kami Mandami. And Mandami told you what his priorities are. We'll get to that. But we're on day 23 of the government shutdown. And I mentioned Fetterman as the only honest Democrat. I should amend that. Catherine Clark, a just contemptible, just repulsive congresswoman from Massachusetts. She's like some kind of character out of a movie. She looks like some evil CIA agent from a Bourne movie or something. But she's the most powerful woman in D.C., the whip of the Democrat Party. She went on, did an interview, and she said the quiet part out loud. I don't think you were supposed to say this, Kathy, but she did. Democrats, as we know, shut the government down 3 weeks ago. They're voted to keep it shut 12, 13 times now. They view this as, as a political maneuver. They don't care that people are hurting. They don't care that, welfare, SNAP beneficiaries aren't getting their food. Doesn't matter to them. They think they got leverage. She said it out loud. Here is Catherine Clark, again, powerful Democrat in Washington, telling the truth accidentally about why Democrats shut the government down. Go ahead.
I mean, shutdowns are terrible. And of course, there will be, families that are going to suffer. We take that responsibility very seriously. But it is one of the few leveraged times we have.
One of the few leveraged times we have. Families are hurting. Shutdowns are awful, but we got leverage and we're going to use it. They don't have the votes to pass anything. They can obstruct. They can stop. It's not working. I mean, even if you're a moron, if you're a MSNBC viewer, if you get your info from the New York Times, there's no way to spin it as a GOP shutdown. You can't blame Trump. You can't blame Republicans. They voted for the continuing resolution, which has happened many, many times in the past. The last 13 times it happened, Chuck Schumer supported the continuing resolution. This time, because he's being dragged around by the ring in his nose by the hard left, by AOC and Ayanna Pressley and Liz Warren and Bernie Sanders, that he went along, shut the government down, voted against the continuing resolution, and they're in a corner now. It's on them. They did this. There's not even a debate anymore. What did you think Republicans were going to do? Agree to reinstate all the insane spending that they eliminated with the big, beautiful bill? Of course not. Do you think they're going to spend $1.5 trillion for Medicaid for illegal aliens? Of course not. They're not going to do that. They're going to sit back and watch Democrats admit they had to do this. They had the leverage. They had no choice. So it doesn't appear to me like it's going to end anytime soon, but because they don't care. They will do whatever it takes to protect their base, which is illegal alien criminals. That's what's most important to them. That is their top priority, and the whole world can see it now. And one Democrat voted to keep the government open, one guy, and he's not afraid. Watching Fetterman is just amazing. I certainly didn't support him. I thought he was a terrible candidate. Before a stroke, after a stroke, whatever, we watched his debate with Dr. Oz. It was a disaster. He's a big oaf with his hoodies on, his gym shorts. But he goes on and he'll talk to anybody. He's unafraid. And he says, he states the obvious, like Trump's not a Nazi. He went through the whole list last night. He went on Hannity, first of all, which is, unusual for a Democrat in Washington to go on with Hannity, the guy most associated with Trump, with MAGA. And he went down the whole list. Hannity didn't even ask about half these things. He just brought them up, talking about shutting down the government, talking about labeling your opponents Nazis when there's real political violence out there. Hannity could have done half an hour with the guy. He went down everything and just said, this is crazy what my party is doing. And he's so fearless in saying this. They want to primary him in 4 years. Good, go for it. He doesn't care. He supports Israel. He's not going to tell you about the genocide or support Hamas like so many in his party. He is stepping out of line. This is one brave man, one guy willing to stand on principle in the Democrat Party. Here he is, John Fetterman.
I don't know why, and I've always refused to say that. And when then the Vice President Harris referred to President Trump as a fascist, and I knew absolutely we lost the plot at that point. If you call the president or someone like a fascist, you're effectively calling the people that are going to vote for him, and then they must be fascists too, or they support fascism and those things. And that's just not true. That's just not it. I happen to know, and I love a lot of people that voted for the president, and they're not fascists. They're not Nazis. They're not trying to destroy the Constitution and all those things. They just happen to have a different priorities, and they love our country in the same ways that Democrats do as well. So I refuse to do those kinds of a thing, because that kind of extreme kinds of rhetoric makes it easier for those kinds of extreme kinds of actions, even like what happened to poor Charlie Kirk and that. And now why you can't allow people to grieve and now use that an opportunity to criticize or to turn it into something. It's like, it's just basic humanity there. And like, we're forgetting that we need each other. We need each other here. And now I refuse to be a part of it and comparing people to Hitler and those things, because if that's what's required to win, then I refuse to.
That is your state of the Democrat Party. It takes real courage for a Democrat to say, Trump's not Hitler. His supporters aren't Nazis. Then maybe we should tone down the rhetoric. Maybe we shouldn't celebrate the death of Charlie Kirk. That's common sense. That's obvious. And this is a pariah. This is the only Democrat who doesn't want the government shut down. This is virtually the only Democrat who supports our ally in Israel, who doesn't think people are evil because they vote for Donald Trump. It's just an incredible thing to watch. They hate him. They want to primary him. They want him out of the party because he stepped out of line. They're so unaccustomed to somebody thinking for themselves, speaking for themselves. And it took this goof, this guy who had a stroke, who couldn't talk for a while. That guy, it took him to bring some sense to the conversation. Here's more from Fetterman.
I mean, it's heartbreaking. I mean, as a father with 3 children, if someone had done that to one of my children, it's just how devastating. I mean, this is what I'm saying. I will never understand why it's controversial to round up and deport all of the criminals here that are in our nation right
Whoa.
now. And I'm proud to just agree that we need to secure our border. I don't know why these other kinds of things. And if they want to, run me out of the party for these kind of views, I mean, that's really it's up to them. But I'm going to continue.
I know
that is amazing. It's a Democrat saying, why is it controversial to round up the criminals? Well, forget being against rounding up the criminals. They want to help the criminals. His party is attempting to help illegal alien criminals avoid ICE, avoid federal law enforcement, who are just doing their jobs. It is amazing that they hate ICE. Hell, they're promising to prosecute them. J.B. Pritzker said if they take back the White House, they're going to prosecute ICE agents who are out there courageously doing their jobs, enforcing the law that Congress wrote. It's truly upside down world right now. It is insane. These guys are cops enforcing the law that Congress wrote, and Democrats want them dead. Tom Homan, again, yesterday predicted an ICE agent is going to die, and I couldn't agree more. It's going to happen. They want ICE agents dead. Get me that teacher, again, from L.A. And again, I ask, why is he still free? Why has he not been arrested? Why do we not see this guy, Ron Gochez, a teacher at Maya Angelou High School in LA, an activist, a leader, an award-winning teacher? Here he is telling people to shoot back when ICE comes to do their job. Listen.
Don't forget where you're standing. This is South Central Los Angeles. They are not the only ones with guns in this city. They're not the only ones, and don't forget that. And I don't say that because we're calling for violence. I'm saying that because the people have every right to defend themselves against masked, unidentified gunmen with AR-15s and other military rifles. The people have every right to defend themselves.
Illegal aliens can't have guns, stupid. That's a teacher at a high school. And has not been arrested yet. Why not? Why don't we get to see him in leg irons and handcuffs? He is calling for them to shoot ICE agents, and it's going to happen. Maybe then they'll bust him. Maybe then there'll be justice. All right, I got to get to the latest from the new Democrat darling, Graham Plantner, candidate for the Senate in Maine. We talked about him yesterday. Bernie Sanders endorsed him. He's sticking by him. And we told you he had the Nazi tattoo, which he covered up after 18 years of wearing a Nazi tattoo on his chest. We know he had a lot of outrageous, racist posts on Reddit. He's the worst candidate I've ever seen. But he's young and he's a Marine and he's got a beard. So Democrats thought they had their guy, their populist, who's going to appeal to white rural voters, who he called racist, white rural voters. Well, he went to Algonquin, which is a gay coastal nice place. It's been called the gay capital of Maine. He went there to speak last night, and just before he took the stage, his opponents released the latest opposition research, and it's just getting worse for Graham Plantner. We'll get to that. And the latest on this incredible NBA scandal. We'll get to that too, but first.
Excuse me.
As the weather cools, I'm swapping in the pieces that actually get the job done. Warm, durable, and built to last. And Quince delivers every time with wardrobe staples that'll carry you through the season. Quince has the kind of fall staples you'll actually want to wear on repeat, like 100% Mongolian cashmere from just $60, classic fit denim, and real leather and wool outerwear that looks sharp and holds up and doesn't cost too much. That's important. I'll tell you what I love. I love my new suede trucker jacket. It's perfect for layering. It just looks really casual and put together. It makes me dread the coming cold nights a little less. By partnering directly with ethical factories and top artisans, Quince cuts out the middleman to deliver premium quality at half the cost of similar brands. Layer up this fall with pieces that feel as good as they look. Go to quince.com/Gerry for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/Gerry. Free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Gerry. I love dirty politics. There's nothing better than watching them try to destroy a man, especially a man like this absolutely contemptible fraud, Graham Plantner, the oyster farmer from Maine, just a regular guy out there in his jeans. What an absolute fraud he is. We've gone over many of the posts on Reddit and his tattoo and all the other things he's done. I'm not sure he's going to last much longer. He made an appearance in Algonquin speaking to a largely gay audience, Democrats, trying to win them over. And just before he appeared, someone dropped a whole new load of op research to The Advocate, a gay publication. They write, unearthed posts show a pattern of homophobic language and rhetoric that mocked or demean LGBTQ people. In some cases, Plantner appeared to use slurs casually in discussions unrelated to sexuality. In others, he explicitly framed gay people as a punchline. I can't even read some of these things. Talked about everything being gay and talked about use the F slur. These are disqualifying, but he's a Democrat, so maybe he'll get away with it. But today I find that stuff abhorrent, Plantner told The Advocate, and I'm sorry I ever used those words. Use all the words. He told the Advocate in a Zoom interview, I have no reason to deny the posts are mine. I made a lot of comments over the years and talked a lot of shit on the internet. I have no reason to doubt that at some point I use language that I would not be using today. It's indefensible. Yes, it is. Maybe it's his opponent, Janet Mills, who dropped this, or maybe it's Chuck Schumer, who wants to stop this guy before it gets worse. But he's still in the race, even though he's offended just about everybody on either side of the aisle. And he proudly showed that he covered up his Nazi tattoo which, by the way, you can also see in Schindler's List. Ralph Fiennes, who plays just the most evil, Nazi commander of the concentration camp. He's got the same symbol on his uniform, on his neck, and his uniform, on his collar. Same symbol that good Democrat Graham Plantner thought, you know what? I'll get this tattooed on my chest, and then I'll pretend I didn't know. I was drunk. Well, his former campaign manager came out and said he knew exactly what he was doing when he did this, and he's lying. A campaign manager said he knew he was getting a tattoo of a Nazi symbol. They're not sending their best. Speaking of not sending their best, let's get to this Mom Dami. Got to get used to that because he's not going anywhere. He's soon going to have control of $1 billion budget and 300,000 city employees. Gee, you think there'll be a lot of, straight white guys or white women in the Mamdani administration? You think he might hire some real radicals? Do you think he's determined to turn New York City into Dearborn or into London and just have his fellow Muslim radicals in complete control of New York City? That's going to happen in a matter of weeks. We are less than 2 weeks away from this guy winning the mayor's office in New York City. It is frightening. The debate was pretty wild. It's a New York debate, and you got a guy like Curtis Sliwa up there yelling, and Sliwa and Cuomo both went after Mamdani. It doesn't matter. Mamdani voters aren't changing their mind. They're foreigners. We know that. 62% of foreign-born New Yorkers support Kami Mamdani. They're not changing their minds. They're not even listening to Curtis Sliwa or Cuomo. And you know what? Sliwa could pull out. He could quit. It's not going to. I don't think he should. But if he does, it won't matter. This guy will beat Cuomo. Cuomo's a terrible candidate. Democrats did this to themselves. This is their guy. And you know what? He's the front man. He's the poster boy going into the midterms, going into the 2028 election. Get used to it. Mamdani is going to be front row center for the foreseeable future, and that's not good for Democrats. Here he is explaining, what his priorities are when he takes office. Go ahead.
My politics is consistent, and my politics is built on a belief in human rights for all people, and that extends to queer and trans New Yorkers, and it extends to queer and trans Ugandans.
What? The mayor of New York City said his priority is queer and trans Ugandans. That's his home country, like Ilhan Omar. Like Ilhan Omar. His allegiance, his loyalty is to his home country. Do you know what they do to queer and trans people in Uganda? They put them in jail. It's illegal to be queer or trans. And the woman in Uganda who implemented that policy has made appearances with him. It's a friend of his. Everything he says about LGBTQ rights, about trans rights, is a lie. He's just saying that so those idiots that we saw attacking ICE in Lower Manhattan, all those 28-year-old woke girls, women with the purple hair and nose rings, he wants to win them over. He's won them over. So he's telling them what they want to hear. He doesn't believe that. He believes the same thing that the imam he appeared with, the guy, the co-conspirator in the World Trade Center bombing, that guy who's calling for jihad in New York City. That's what he really thinks. But he can't say that. He needs to get elected. So he's telling people he's concerned about queer and trans New Yorkers and queer and trans Ugandans to win over the wokesters. He knows he has the Muslim fanatics in his corner. They know that he's just playing a role here. He's just telling them what they want to hear. But they don't care. It's working. He is your next mayor of New York City. We'll say it again. And we're going to sit back and enjoy watching New York City descend into chaos. It's going to be ugly, but it's what they're voting for. We got any updates on the NBA scandal? Ironhead, I know you're very concerned with this. The mob is involved. The 5 families are involved. The NBA is involved. Here's my favorite part so far. I told you about the X-ray technology so they could read cars that were face down. They also had X-ray vision contact lenses so they could see the cars. This is like going to be a movie. This is going to be a book. This is going to be big. The NBA has got a big, big problem on their hands. Tonight, people are going to be gambling on the NBA, wondering, is someone out there shaving points, throwing the game? Does that guy have money on the game? Does this guy betting on his own team against his own team? Was inevitable. This was going to happen as soon as they got in bed with all the casinos. But we will be watching it unfold and just fascinated by it. Do I have time to do Goodell? Let me do Goodell. Are you awake, Ironhead, or did you take a nap again? You leave me? Are you paying attention to this NBA story?
I'm paying attention. There's nothing really new yet.
It's just going to explode. It's going to explode all over the place. It is, ESPN is going to spend the whole day on it. It's bad, bad, bad. So I guess Goodell, the good news is Goodell is not involved in the gambling scandal, but he is under a lot of pressure because he is a pathetic, weak man who allowed Jay-Z to pick his halftime show. And NFL fans aren't happy. Lots of people are threatening to boycott. TPUSA is putting together their own halftime show, a counter-programming deal. There's a petition out there to replace Bad Bunny with George Strait, which I love. That would be so great. It's not going to happen. This guy is so weak right now. This is a hostage tape. This is Goodell asked about the choice of Bad Bunny. Again, a guy who hates this country, who vowed to never perform in the country because of Trump. And now he's doing the halftime he gets the biggest stage of all. A guy who, forget the fact that he sucks at his job, that he dresses like a woman, that he speaks Spanish, sings in Spanish. This was a slap in the face to 90% of NFL fans, and they're not happy. Obviously, Kendrick Lamar was awful, and most of their halftime shows have been awful of recent years. This is the worst. This is worse than any of them. Picking a guy who dresses up in women's clothes and sings in Spanish, a guy who told you to learn Spanish if you want to enjoy his halftime show. Yeah. A guy who thinks, ICE is fascist and all that, just a despicable human being. He gets the halftime show because this spineless squish of a commissioner could not stand up to Jay-Z. Well, check this out. This is him asked about Bad Bunny. Tell me he doesn't look like he's just being controlled. Like he's so weak and so defeated. This is a shell of a man who, for some reason, was forced to do something he knows is wildly unpopular with most of his fans. Listen to this.
Decision to choose Bad Bunny as your Super Bowl halftime performer?
He's one of the leading and most popular entertainers in the world. That's what we try to achieve. It's an important stage for us. It's an important element to the entertainment value. It's carefully thought through. I would say that I'm not sure we've ever selected an artist where we didn't have some blowback or criticism. It's pretty hard to do when you have literally hundreds of millions of people that are watching. But we're confident it's going to be a great show, and that he understands the platform that he's on, and I think it's going to be exciting and a united moment.
Yeah, sure you do. Yeah, it's going to be an exciting and wonderful moment. He's one of the best. We get blowback. Get a lot of blowback when you pick the Rolling Stones. Did you get a lot of blowback when you pick the Who or Tom Petty? Big stars that your fans like. Did you get a lot of blowback then? No, of course not. But he's not making the call. He's just a pathetic stooge controlled by Jay-Z and the Trump haters in the NFL. This is a slap, a middle finger to Trump is what it is. And
Even
Trump
if he did actually want Bad Bunny, that video sounds like there was a gun in the middle of his back.
He's almost blinking, save me, help me. He's being held against his will and forced to foist this awful performer on the country, but good. Hope it all blows up on him. I'm looking forward to finding out who Turning Point is going to put on stage to counter program. I'll be changed. Actually, I'll hate watch because I know Bad Bunny will suck. So I'll be trolling all the Bad Bunny fans on Super Bowl Sunday, but we'll see. At least they aren't shaving points. At least they're not working with La Casa Nostra to rig poker games. Man, the NBA has a problem on their hands. We will be following that closely and updating that tomorrow. But for now, it's going to be fun watching the NBA squirm. But hey, again, this day was inevitable. We knew this was coming. But that will do it for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is The Callahan Show, and we will do it again tomorrow.
I mean, shutdowns are terrible. And of course, there will be, families that are going to suffer. We take that responsibility very seriously. But it is one of the few leveraged times we have.